Senator McCain is here on this official congressional delegation with two of his Senate Armed Services Committee colleagues, Joe Lieberman, the independent of Connecticut, Lindsey Graham, a Republican from South Carolina. Many would note that both Senator Lieberman and Senator Graham also are McCain for President supporters, but they have been spending the day with U.S. officials. We are told U.S. military officials and diplomatic officials, getting what one Senate office staffer just emailed me was an update on what they believe to be considerable progress on the ground here. We don't know the exact details of the senator's schedule because of security reasons and because that is traditional in these congressional delegations, which are often low-key. We've had no media coverage of the senator's visit yet, no exact details of his schedule, but we do know he is supposed to meet with General David Petraeus, the commanding general here, with Ryan Crocker, the U.S. ambassador, and with Iraqi officials, including, we are told, the Prime Minister, Nouri al-Maliki. Now, all this part of a busy international trip for Senator McCain that he is conducting, and he wants to emphasize as a senator. This is his day job, he says, but it's also impossible to disconnect the facts of this trip from the presidential campaign back home. General Petraeus and Ambassador Crocker will be back before Congress next month, making their case for the Bush administration's policy here in Iraq. Every day on the campaign trail back home, Senator McCain makes note to any one of his audiences that he's one of the few Republicans who stood up to former Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld and demanded more troops in Iraq, denounced the Bush administration policy at the beginning as a failure. And at every stop along the campaign trail, he says he believes both Senator Obama and Senator Clinton are flat wrong, that they would, quote, wave the white flag of surrender in pulling U.S. troops out too soon. And Senator McCain, as he did earlier this week in Springfield, Pennsylvania, makes the case at almost every stop that he believes, while the surge is painful, especially to military families, he believes it's succeeding.
The hardest thing in warfare to counter is someone or in a group of individuals who are willing to take their own lives in order to take others. You can go all the way back to our World War II veteran who will tell you that the kamikaze pilot in World War II was the hardest thing for us to counter. Ask the Israelis how hard it is to secure their borders against these suicide bombers. So I worry about it a great deal. But I also believe that they may be able to carry out some spectacular suicide attacks, but we do have them on the run. And up in Mosul, where the battle is raging right now, I'm happy to tell you that the overwhelming majority of that fighting is being done by Iraqi troops, not by American troops. That's the success of the surge. And Americans are grieved. We are grieved at the sacrifice. But if we can reduce and gradually eliminate American casualties, the struggle may go on, but we will have won, and then we determine what our relationship is and what our presence is there.
A taste of Senator McCain back home on the campaign trail there, again making the case that he believes the surge policy is working and that he believes, while eventually this commander-in-chief or the next commander-in-chief should be able to begin to bring troops home, he believes both of the plans put forward by Senator Clinton and Obama would be a recipe for disaster. And Jim, it's quite interesting on this trip because it's clearly sensitive to the McCain operation. They want to call this a congressional delegation trip. They make note that he planned to make this trip several months ago, and then at that point in the campaign he thought it was unwise, but they say whether he had won the Republican nomination or whether he had faltered, he would be here at this moment. And it's not just sensitive for the McCain operation. The military is also sensitive to the fact that this will be viewed as somehow the United States military helping Senator McCain from a political standpoint. U.S. officials here say that he is the ranking Republican on the Senate Armed Services Committee, that he has two colleagues with him, that the trip has been endorsed by his colleagues, Democrats included, back in the United States Congress. But make no mistake about it, Jim, he is here for his day job as a United States Senator, but Iraq is not only a defining debate in the Congress, but also, as you well know, as you stand in the state of Pennsylvania today, in the campaign as well.